How's it going, everybody? So, people keep asking me what my current herb, supplement, nutrition, and training routine is like. So, I actually just finished making like a 45-minute video, kind of just like having a casual chat about it all and explaining it. But I realized not a lot of, not everybody is going to have enough time or whatever to sit through a 45-minute video where I go deep into detail and on these like random tangents in the meantime. So I figured I'd make a shorter version as well. So, and then some more streamlined version. So, look, here's what I've been doing, okay? Every single morning for months and months, almost this entire year, I've been taking 500 milligrams of rhodiola rosea extract, standardized to 3% rosavins and 1% solidoricides. I've also been taking, for the last 6 months or so, about a half a teaspoon of red Panax ginseng, just raw root powder, 6-year-old roots though, and I will brew it and blend it into steaming hot coffee in the morning, along with my other tonic herbs. But the last 2 months specifically is what we're focusing on here in this video. So the rhodiola, the Panax red ginseng from a very specific supplier, because high quality ginseng is important, or else you won't fill it. And then I also will occasionally take a half a teaspoon to maybe a whole teaspoon of raw Shilajit powder. If you're curious about why I take the raw powder and not the resin or the purified extract, watch the full video. And then I also take about a half a teaspoon of Hyperion Herbs Cordyceps extract every single day as a maintenance dose. And then I like to take about 1 to 2 whole teaspoons of Hyperion Herbs Cordyceps extract immediately before my hardest jiu-jitsu training. Okay? So remember, I do not take the Shilajit every single day. And I do take cordyceps every day, but only a low dose consistently. And I only take the higher dose about 2 hours before my hardest jiu-jitsu sessions, occasionally, a couple times a week. So I was taking Hyperion Herbs Black Ant extract for the last 2 months, and that was amazing. I was taking about a half a teaspoon every single day. But they quit selling it. Brandon Gilbert quit selling it. And that's a bummer. So now I'm going to have to find another supplier. I tried many different ones. None of them are really that good. I haven't tried Lost Empire Herbs yet, but that's the one I might switch to once I transition into this new job here soon. So then I also have been taking Mucuna Purins extract. I was taking the Now Foods brand Mucuna Dopa, but recently I switched to my local Natural Grocers brand, and I like this brand a lot because it's a white powder and it's slightly sweet. It reminds me a lot of the Mucuna extract that Hyperion Herbs was selling before. That was really freaking good, and now they stopped selling it. So I take about 800 I take about 800 milligrams of Mucuna in the morning and 800 milligrams in the evening. But all the different extracts, they vary. So dosage is going to depend on the specific extract in question. Let's see. I drink about three whole cups of coffee, this big, with 6 tablespoons of coffee grains in the coffee maker, and occasionally I'll add a tablespoon or two of either Goyusa or yerba mate. Remember, the amount of caffeine in any given coffee is highly variable and will change dramatically depending on the amount of coffee grinds used, how fine those coffee grinds are, and also the speed and type of coffee maker you're using. Anybody who tells you that there's a specific amount of caffeine you'll get per cup of coffee, they don't know what they're talking about. It's impossible to really gauge that. There will be at least 100 milligram difference or more, depending on all these other factors. But yeah, I drink a ton of coffee. I experience zero negative impacts at all. Um, and I do add a half a teaspoon of salt, just plain table salt, sodium chloride in my coffee in the morning. Um, and yeah, my sleep is freaking amazing. My sleep's probably better than it's ever been before. Um, and I'm able to train at a high level and just feel freaking amazing. So, let's get into my training routine. I train Bulgarian, okay? So I lift to a daily max or daily minimum every single day on all my main lifts. I squat, I overhead press, I deadlift, and I also pause bench, 1 count pause bench every single day. And the bench press sometimes I skip. And the way I do that is I work up to a weight that feels like an RPE 8 on each lift every single day. And as long as I hit that RPE 8 lift, I will get a effective training stimulus, and the weights will keep going up. But I only do, a couple of sets with low reps. Some days I hit doubles. Some days I hit singles. Some days I hit a combination of doubles and singles. It just depends on how I feel. I auto-regulate. But the one thing that stays consistent and the way that this works is when you first start lifting this way, you're going to find a weight that you can hit at a RP 8 every single day no matter what happens. That day becomes your that weight becomes your daily minimum, okay? And your daily minimum is, like, for example, I've been hitting overhead press, 185 pounds every single day, strict barbell overhead press, standing. And that's my RP8, my daily minimum. On really good days lately, I've been able to hit sets of 3. Other days, I work up to 200 pounds for like an RP10. The thing is, your daily minimum is going to go from an RP8 to like an RP6 over time. And because that daily minimum gets easier, that means you got stronger, and that means that your RP8 single actually goes up over time. And that's how you know you got stronger without actually needing to even work up to an absolute grinder max, like I almost always do anyway. And so the idea is you have this daily minimum. That's just the RP8 single that you're able to hit at RP8 consistently, and it's a trend, right? After about a week of hitting that certain weight that always feels like that RP8, that becomes a new kind of minimum, right? That every day you walk in there, as long as you hit that, you're good. But the thing is, my daily minimum might be 185 pounds right now this week, but next week 190 is at RP8. And then the next week after that, maybe 200 is. That is the basic idea. And remember, it's an RP8. So if you're feeling like crap, you should easily be able to hit that daily minimum. And it maybe, the RP and daily minimum kind of thing, I know it can be confusing to some people. Read the Bulgarian manual by Greg Knuckles and Omar Isuf. Why did I blank out on his name? They're the leading edge in the evidence-based, well, Greg Knuckles and Eric Trexler, actually, leading in the evidence-based exercise science community, okay? But there's others too, like Eric Helms and freaking Dr. Mike Itzertel. But anyway, yeah, read that book. It's amazing. So I've been doing the Bulgarian method style of training for about maybe 5 or 6 weeks, give or take. And it's been the greatest way of training that I've ever done. The greatest strength gains ever, greatest progress, and the most amazing recovery. So on top of the daily max Bulgarian style training, I bench, I squat, I deadlift, and I overhead press to a max every single day. Everything people tell you not to do. And by the way, I do not recommend this at all to any new people or whatever. But I also do jiu-jitsu every single day on top of that, or at least I try to do it every single day. It just depends on my schedule. And right now I'm transitioning into a new kind of job, so my scheduling has been kind of, I don't know how my schedule is going to be coming here soon. But I generally do at least 1 hour of jujitsu every single day, and that consists of about 30 minutes of live rolling. Usually that's like 5 minute rounds or something like that of rolling. I roll with a lot with the blue belts. I roll with brown belts, occasionally with my professors, the black belts. And then, of course, white belts are actually the hardest rolls on recovery, because they use so much strength and tension, and they're given every move, everything they've got. Uh, it is probably the most dangerous roll, because they might punch you in the mouth in the middle of rolling, which is just crazy. But yeah, and that's a good conditioning effect, because they don't have a lot of technique, so I could utilize a lot of my technique, but they try so hard that, like, you got to just do your best to prevent them from accidentally elbowing you in the nose. Anyway, yeah, so I roll 5 minute rounds at least pretty much every single day on top of daily maxing. And the first 2 weeks or so, I think I felt kind of tired and stuff, but after the third week of training like this, it's been nothing but good workouts, no recovery problems, no soreness or anything like that. The really awesome thing is I can literally, so I walk in the gym, like I'm going to do here in an hour or so. As soon as I walk in the gym, I go straight to the squat rack. I can literally go from the empty bar to my daily max, like my actual daily max, in 10 minutes. You don't need much of a warm-up when you squat every single day. I literally just, I start with 135, and I do some pause, bouncy reps at the bottom. And then I just put on 50 pounds at a time, all the way up to 3 plates. And, 315 is like my last warm-up weight. I'll hit that for a couple of doubles, usually paused. And I just stack it up in 10 plates, hit the 365, and then try to figure out where I'm going to go from there. And that takes about 10 minutes usually. Maybe 15. And then I do overhead press. Overhead press, one of my favorite lifts, been doing it forever. Doesn't take me more than 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, unless I do a bunch of volume on that afterwards. And then deadlift, I don't know, that's when I start to get kind of like, whatever. But usually deadlift might take me maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15. I don't do as many warm-ups on deadlift just because of the amount of plates I got to add. And I do my bench press sometimes. Other times I just skip bench press. But bench press is pause, 1 count. So yeah, and that takes me about an hour. Usually I could literally be done in 45 minutes if I really wanted to. Daily maxing, just amazing, because you don't, the warm-up sets, you always feel ready to squat. You always feel ready to deadlift and press and bench. You never lose technique. And the really awesome thing is you pretty much always know where your strength is at any given moment. Compared to the high volume, lower frequency style of training, back in the day, I always felt like garbage. Lifting always beat me up. It was pretty bad. And I think there's a reason why all the highest level kind of IPF and USAPL lifters train with auto regulation, with higher frequencies and kind of like lower volumes these days. But anyway, and there's a lot of people squat over 700 pounds that train this way, but you won't hear about them from these people trying to sell you programs. Because if everyone knew you could just lift to a auto-regulated max every day, you know what I mean? Then people would not be able to sell you programs, would they? Everything would just be auto-regulated and easy. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, literally, I have never felt this good during jiu-jitsu training along with strength training. Usually what I notice, it was when I train with sets of 4, sets of 5 at a consistent intensity level, like 80% or whatever. Usually I feel way more beat up. And I notice I have to pull back during harder jiu-jitsu training. But when I train this way, every single day, I just feel like a beast. I don't have any trouble recovering, and I am gaining strength, like substantially easier. without even needing to think about it, compared to when I used to do the sets of 5 and shit like that. I always feel like garbage. And I think my kind of hormone profile is better because I have been like sleeping way better. It's probably because I'm never like grinding myself into piss with sets of 5 and shit like that. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, so nutrition, okay? And again, I literally train jiu-jitsu and do the maxing every day. So nutrition, what is my nutrition like? Let's see. Yeah, so I basically eat 2 pounds of meat every day. I drink about a half a gallon of milk on top of that. And sometimes I'll drink a whole gallon of milk. And I prefer to drink the whole gallon, but sometimes I just don't have enough time and whatnot to drink the whole gallon. But that's the basics of my nutrition program right now. I try to get in around 4 to 5 grams of sodium per day because I find that actually really helps with my sleep, my energy, and everything else, and my fluid balance. Occasionally, like I actually not occasionally, but daily, I have been experimenting with potassium, salt, and magnesium each day. Just for like electrolyte balance, like I make a home brew kind of electrolyte drink with Epsom salts and kind of the new salt, potassium citrate or whatever. But I've kind of just been trending more towards basic salt, sodium chloride. And then, yeah, ideally I would be getting most of my carbohydrates from bananas. You can watch my longer video about why. Mineral balance mostly. But, you know, right now, because I'm like transitioning into a new job and stuff like that, I'm being really conservative with money. So my carbohydrate sources, I'm making a compromise. And I'm really trying to reach a certain calorie goal. I'm trying to eat enough because I've actually noticed I used to have kind of symptoms of overtraining and shit like that because I wasn't eating enough carbohydrates. Or not carbohydrates. I wasn't eating enough calories. Basically, I was experiencing something known as relative energy deficiency in sport. Okay? It's basically when you don't eat enough calories to sustain your energy output. So go ahead and look up REDS, REDS, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And so I don't want to go into, you know, keto adaptation and whether you need carbs and this and that because I'm not keto adapted right now, okay? But if I made a recommendation, I would say if you're going to eat carbohydrates, get them from foods that have a low glycemic load as well as a high mineral concentration because that's the main thing. If you're over there slamming jasmine rice and refined sugar, you're not really getting a lot of kind of like nutrient impact from that. However, white rice is a very affordable source of carbohydrate that does not irritate people's digestive disorders and autoimmune illness typically. And so for people that are on a budget and are on a carb-based diet and they're an athlete, you know, it's like you might need to make a compromise in that regard. However, bananas and honey would be better, or just bananas if anything. Milk has a pretty unique kind of carbohydrate composition that is more conducive to lactate recycling and lactate as an energy source. But we'll talk about that in another video. So yeah. That's my basic program right now. If you want more details and rambles, I have another video that I am releasing that's double the length, going deeper into detail and everything and showing you the saponins in my ginseng coffee or whatever. But this is like my basic kind of outline right now. And when I transition into my new career or my new job here soon, I will definitely be getting better carbohydrate sources and noticing a better performance impact from it. But for now, I'm doing what I got to do, okay? And so people, I'm kind of, people will be in the comments grilling me because I'm like, yeah, carbohydrates, this and that. And they're like, you're addicted to carbs and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, it's like, bro, I'm like, maxing every single day on my lifts, sometimes twice a day. I'm doing jujitsu every day, sometimes twice a day. And I'm doing amazing. Everything's working perfectly for me. Why would I change anything? You know what I mean? These people in the comments who tell me, oh, like carbs and this and that. It's like, yes, I know if I took the time, like the 2 months out of my competitive season to keto adapt again, which I don't have that time right now. I can't keto adapt right now. I'm not going to lose that performance in the meantime. Most of these people aren't competitive athletes, and they don't understand what I'm dealing with. And they haven't been studying this stuff as long as I have either. So I'm just saying, like, because I had people that'll be like, oh, like he's eating the bananas or whatever. It's like, chill, just relax. But you made videos saying that, athletes can perform fine on a keto diet. And it's like, for one, there's a lot of nuances that need to be considered. And for two, it takes time to shift the metabolism into fully, being able to perform like that. It takes some time. So anyway, yeah, I'll make another video about that for the people who are wanting to know more. But for now, that's what's up. Leave your question, comments down below, and I will talk to y'all next time.